Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something that's often disguised as friendship, but is rarely what it seems: the misconception that everyone around you is truly loyal. Many of us walk through life expecting loyalty from friends, family, or even colleagues, only to face the harsh reality that no one is obligated to be loyal. It's something they choose or don't. Understanding true loyalty is fundamental to navigating meaningful relationships in life. Loyalty is often mistaken for obligation or superficial commitment, but in reality, it is a rare and valuable trait that cannot be forced or demanded. Genuine loyalty is built over time through consistent actions, unwavering integrity, and a deep sense of trust that develops between individuals. It is not something that can be purchased, coerced, or manipulated. Rather, it must be cultivated through authentic behavior and mutual respect. Many people mistakenly believe that loyalty is something owed simply because of familiarity or shared history. However, true loyalty goes beyond mere presence or shared experiences. It requires a conscious choice to stand by someone even in difficult times without expecting anything in return. This kind of loyalty is rooted in genuine care and a sincere commitment to the well-being of others. It is demonstrated through actions that align with words, through reliability and dependability, and through integrity when faced with challenges or temptations to betray trust. Loyalty is not blind allegiance. It is not about ignoring faults or turning a blind eye to dishonesty. Instead, it is about standing firm in your principles, being honest, and showing consistent support to those you genuinely believe in. When someone is truly loyal, they remain steadfast even when circumstances change, even when it is inconvenient or difficult. They do not abandon their principles or abandon others at the first sign of trouble. Genuine loyalty involves a level of sacrifice, patience, and understanding that is often overlooked or undervalued in superficial relationships. Building genuine loyalty requires effort from both parties involved. It starts with trust, which is earned through transparency, honesty, and consistent behavior over time. Trust is fragile and can easily be broken, but when nurtured, it forms a foundation of loyalty. People who are loyal recognize the importance of maintaining that trust, and they act with integrity even when no one is watching. This means being truthful, honoring commitments, and displaying genuine concern for others without ulterior motives. Loyalty also involves a sense of responsibility and accountability. When you are truly loyal to someone, you take ownership of your actions and their impact on the relationship. You do not take loyalty for granted or assume it is a given. Instead, you understand that loyalty is a gift, one that must be earned and continuously maintained through consistent effort. It requires patience, understanding, and compassion, especially during times when others may falter or make mistakes. In essence, genuine loyalty is a reflection of character. It reveals who a person truly is when faced with temptations, challenges, or opportunities to betray trust. Those who are loyal do not do so out of obligation alone, but because it aligns with their core values and sense of integrity. They understand that loyalty is a two-way street built on mutual respect, trust, and a genuine desire to support one another through life's ups and downs. It is a rare and precious quality that cannot be demanded. It must be earned through consistent, authentic actions that demonstrate care, respect, and unwavering support. The illusion of friendship is a concept that many of us have fallen victim to at some point in our lives. We often believe that the relationships we nurture are genuine and built on a foundation of loyalty and unconditional support, but in reality, many of these connections are superficial, driven by convenience or mutual benefit rather than true loyalty. This misconception can lead us to invest emotional energy into relationships that are not as solid or genuine as they appear on the surface. Many friendships are formed and maintained because they serve a purpose. Perhaps someone is a good social connection, provides entertainment, or offers some form of material or social advantage. These relationships might seem meaningful, but they lack the true depth and commitment that characterize genuine loyalty. When circumstances change or when we need support during difficult times, these so-called friends often reveal their true colors. They may disappear, or their support may be conditional on how much they stand to gain from the relationship. This is where the illusion becomes clear. A relationship that seemed solid was merely convenient or beneficial for one or both parties involved. Mutual benefit is a common motivator in many relationships. People tend to surround themselves with individuals who can help them achieve personal goals, whether that's career advancement, social status, or material gain. These friendships often flourish as long as the benefit persists. but when the benefit diminishes or disappears, so does the friendship. This transactional nature of many connections demonstrates that they are not rooted in genuine care or loyalty, but in what one can gain from the other. It's a sobering realization that many of the people we consider friends may simply be there because it's advantageous for them as well. Unconditional support, a hallmark of true friendship, is rarely present in these superficial relationships. Genuine friends stand by you regardless of your circumstances. Whether you're at your best or at your worst, they celebrate your successes and support you through failures without expecting anything in return. However, many so-called friends are there only when it's convenient for them or when they are benefiting from the friendship. When your situation changes or when you are in need of real help, they often vanish or become distant. This inconsistency highlights the fact that their support was never truly unconditional. It was based on their own interests and convenience. The danger of this illusion is that it can make us believe we are more connected or valued than we genuinely are. We may invest emotional energy, time, and trust into relationships that are ultimately superficial, only to be disappointed when the truth surfaces. Recognizing that many relationships are based on convenience or mutual benefit rather than loyalty can be painful, but it is a necessary step toward building authentic connections. True friendship requires effort, vulnerability, and a willingness to support each other without expectation of reciprocation or benefits. It's about standing by someone not because it's easy or advantageous, but because you genuinely care, and that care is unconditional. Understanding the illusion of friendship helps us become more discerning about who we allow into our lives. It encourages us to seek out relationships grounded in loyalty, trust, and genuine concern rather than superficial convenience. In doing so, we protect ourselves from the disappointment of hollow friendships and open ourselves up to building meaningful, lasting connections with those who truly value us for who we are, not what we can offer them. The concept of self-reliance is fundamental to personal growth and emotional resilience. In a world where external circumstances can often be unpredictable and relationships with others may falter, relying solely on oneself becomes an empowering and vital approach to life. When you cultivate self-reliance, you develop a sense of inner strength that allows you to navigate challenges with confidence and independence. This mindset encourages you to trust your own judgment, make decisions based on your values, and take responsibility for your actions and outcomes. Relying on yourself fosters resilience because it creates a foundation of inner stability. When you know that your strength, skills, and judgment are sufficient to handle life's difficulties, you become less vulnerable to the ups and downs that can come from depending on external validation or support. External sources, such as friends, family, or societal approval, can sometimes be unreliable or fleeting. When you depend on them, your happiness and sense of security may become contingent upon their actions or attitudes, which can lead to disappointment or frustration. In contrast, when you trust your own abilities and cultivate self-reliance, you are better equipped to recover from setbacks, learn from mistakes, and adapt to changing circumstances without feeling overwhelmed or defeated. Self-reliance also reduces the likelihood of experiencing disappointment stemming from misplaced expectations. When you place your trust or hope in others to fulfill your needs or solve your problems, you risk disillusionment if they fail to meet those expectations. People are imperfect, and their support or actions may not always align with your hopes or desires. By developing self-reliance, you set realistic expectations for yourself rather than relying on others to fill your emotional or practical gaps. You recognize that your well-being and success depend primarily on your own efforts, attitude, and perseverance. This mindset encourages you to take proactive steps, seek solutions independently, and develop resilience in the face of adversity. Self-reliance nurtures a deep sense of confidence and autonomy. When you learn to depend on yourself, you become more self-assured in your decisions and capable of handling various situations without undue dependence on others. This independence fosters a sense of empowerment, inspiring you to pursue your goals with determination and clarity of purpose. It also encourages personal accountability, making you more mindful of your choices and their consequences. As a result, you become more resilient because you are less likely to be derailed by external obstacles or the opinions of others. Of course, self-reliance does not mean isolating oneself or rejecting support from others entirely. It is about finding a healthy balance, being capable and confident enough to stand on your own, while still recognizing the value of meaningful relationships and community. The key is that your emotional core remains rooted in your own strength rather than external validation. This independence enables you to engage with others from a place of strength rather than neediness, leading to more genuine and balanced relationships. In cultivating self-reliance, you also foster a mindset of continuous personal development. You become more willing to learn new skills, face fears, and take on challenges because you trust your capacity to grow and overcome obstacles. This approach leads to a more resilient, autonomous, and fulfilled life. When you rely on yourself, you take ownership of your journey, embrace your potential, and reduce the risk of disappointment that often comes from expecting others to meet your needs or solve your problems. Ultimately, self-reliance is about recognizing that your greatest source of strength and stability lies within you, and nurturing that inner resource can lead to a more resilient and satisfying existence. The gap between expectations and reality is a fundamental aspect of human experience that often leads to disappointment, especially when it comes to expecting loyalty from everyone around us. We tend to hope that those we care about or trust will remain steadfast and unwavering in their support, but human nature is inherently complex and imperfect. Recognizing this discrepancy is crucial for maintaining realistic perspectives and emotional well-being. Loyalty is a noble quality, and many of us aspire to find it in our relationships. We want friends, family, and partners to stand by us through thick and thin, to remain honest, supportive, and committed regardless of circumstances. Yet human beings are driven by a multitude of motives, emotions, and limitations. People are influenced by their own fears, insecurities, and priorities, which can sometimes lead to actions that betray our expectations. Someone who appears loyal in one moment may falter in another due to personal struggles, conflicting interests, or simply a lack of genuine commitment. Expecting unwavering loyalty from everyone often sets us up for inevitable disappointment because it ignores the intricacies of human psychology and the unpredictable nature of human behavior. Furthermore, loyalty is a voluntary act, not an obligation, and it varies greatly from person to person. Some individuals may be loyal in certain contexts, but not in others. For instance, a friend might support you in your personal endeavors, but might not stand by you during a moral dilemma or a crisis. A partner might be faithful and supportive, but may also have their own flaws or limitations that prevent them from fulfilling all our expectations. When we assume that loyalty should be universal or absolute, we overlook the fact that human relationships are inherently imperfect and nuanced. Expecting everyone to meet a standard of unwavering loyalty is unrealistic and can lead to feelings of betrayal and frustration when those expectations are unmet. Additionally, placing too much emphasis on expecting loyalty from everyone can cause us to become disillusioned with human nature itself. It can foster a sense of disappointment that clouds our judgment and hampers our ability to appreciate genuine, albeit imperfect, relationships. Instead of accepting that people are inherently fallible, we might become increasingly guarded, suspicious, or resentful, which can damage our relationships further. It's important to understand that human beings are products of their experiences, circumstances, and emotions, making it unreasonable to expect perfect loyalty from anyone. Realistically, we should cultivate a balanced perspective that recognizes human imperfection while appreciating the loyalty that exists in many relationships. It's healthy to have high standards and to seek genuine connections, but it's equally vital to accept that no one is flawless. By adjusting our expectations, we reduce the risk of constant disappointment and cultivate patience, understanding, and compassion. We learn to value the loyalty that is present rather than lamenting the loyalty that is absent, which often leads to better, more resilient relationships. Embracing the reality of human imperfection allows us to approach relationships with empathy and realistic expectations, creating a more stable emotional foundation. Ultimately, understanding that human nature is complex and imperfect helps us navigate our relationships with greater wisdom, resilience, and peace of mind. Understanding and establishing healthy boundaries is a vital aspect of maintaining emotional well-being and managing expectations in our relationships. Boundaries serve as guidelines or limits that define what is acceptable and what is not, both for ourselves and for others. They provide clarity and structure in interactions, helping us navigate complex social dynamics while safeguarding our mental and emotional health. When boundaries are clear and respected, they create a sense of safety and respect, allowing us to engage with others in a way that aligns with our values, needs, and well-being. One of the primary benefits of setting boundaries is that they help manage our expectations. Without boundaries, We may expect others to behave in ways that are inconsistent with their nature or capabilities, leading to frustration and disappointment. Boundaries clarify what we are willing to accept and what we are not, which in turn sets realistic expectations for our relationships. For example, if we define how much time we can dedicate to others or specify what kind of support we seek, we communicate these boundaries openly. This transparency helps others understand our limits and reduces the likelihood of misunderstandings or feelings of being taken for granted. Healthy boundaries also act as protective barriers that shield our emotional well-being. They prevent us from becoming overwhelmed, manipulated, or drained by others' demands or negative behaviors. For instance, if someone consistently oversteps your personal space or dismisses your feelings, establishing a boundary by asserting your needs can reinforce your sense of self-respect and self-care. Boundaries empower us to prioritize our mental health and prevent burnout, stress, or resentment from building up. They remind us that we are responsible for our own well-being and that it is okay to say no when something does not serve our best interests. Boundaries foster healthier and more balanced relationships. They encourage mutual respect by making expectations clear and ensuring that both parties understand and honor each other's limits. When boundaries are respected, trust and respect are reinforced, leading to more genuine and fulfilling connections. Conversely, when boundaries are ignored or violated, it can create feelings of resentment, anger, or powerlessness. By setting boundaries, we establish a framework for respectful interaction and create a space where both individuals feel heard and valued. It is important to recognize that boundaries are not about building walls or pushing others away. Rather, they are about creating a foundation of respect and self-awareness. Boundaries are flexible and can evolve over time as our needs and circumstances change. Setting boundaries requires honest self-reflection to understand what is acceptable and what is not, as well as the courage to communicate these limits assertively. Doing so can sometimes be uncomfortable, especially if it involves confronting others, but it is an essential step toward emotional maturity and self-respect. Healthy boundaries serve as a vital tool for managing expectations and protecting oneself from emotional harm. They provide clarity in relationships, foster mutual respect, and promote personal growth. When we establish and uphold boundaries, we take control of our emotional landscape, making it easier to navigate the complexities of human interactions while maintaining our integrity and peace of mind. Recognizing the importance of boundaries and practicing their healthy implementation can lead to more authentic, respectful, and resilient relationships, ultimately contributing to a more balanced and fulfilling life. Focusing on self-improvement is a powerful approach to leading a fulfilling and authentic life. Too often, we become entangled in the pursuit of validation or loyalty from others, which can divert us from our true purpose and inner happiness. While human connection and recognition are natural desires, they should not define our self-worth or become the primary motivation for our actions. Instead, prioritizing personal growth and happiness allows us to build a solid foundation of self-awareness and confidence that is independent of external approval. When we shift our focus inward, we begin to understand our strengths, weaknesses, passions, and values more clearly. This self-awareness is essential because it guides us toward actions and choices that align with who we truly are, rather than what others expect or desire from us. Investing in self-improvement involves continuous learning, whether through acquiring new skills, expanding our knowledge, or cultivating emotional intelligence. It also means embracing challenges as opportunities for growth and viewing setbacks as valuable lessons rather than failures. By doing so, we foster resilience and a sense of mastery over our lives, which naturally enhances our happiness. Prioritizing our own happiness does not imply selfishness. Rather, it recognizes that our well-being is fundamental to being able to contribute meaningfully to others and to society. When we nurture ourselves through healthy habits, fulfilling pursuits, and positive relationships, we become better equipped to face life's difficulties and to support those around us. Self-improvement encourages us to develop habits that promote mental, emotional, and physical health, such as regular exercise, mindfulness, or pursuing hobbies that bring joy. These practices create a sense of fulfillment that is rooted in internal satisfaction rather than external validation, which can be fleeting and unreliable. Seeking validation or loyalty from others can often lead to dependency, insecurity, and disappointment because these external sources are inherently unpredictable. People are imperfect and may not always meet our expectations, which can cause frustration and diminish our self-esteem. By focusing on self-improvement, we take control of our happiness and recognize that our value is intrinsic and not contingent upon others' opinions or actions. This mindset fosters independence, resilience, and a sense of personal responsibility for our lives. When we prioritize our growth, we empower ourselves to set healthy boundaries, pursue meaningful goals, and cultivate inner peace. Self-improvement fosters authentic relationships because it encourages us to be genuine and true to ourselves. When we are confident in our own worth and happiness, we are less likely to seek validation from others as a way to fill voids or compensate for insecurities. Instead, we attract relationships built on mutual respect and understanding, where loyalty and support are natural byproducts of genuine connection rather than desperate attempts to seek approval. This approach creates a healthier dynamic that benefits both ourselves and those around us. Focusing on self-improvement is about becoming the best version of ourselves, not for others' approval, but for our own growth and happiness. It involves a commitment to continual development, self-reflection, and embracing our journey with patience and compassion. When we invest in ourselves, we build a resilient, fulfilling life that is rooted in authenticity and self-love. This foundation makes us less vulnerable to external fluctuations and more capable of facing life's challenges with confidence and grace. By prioritizing our own growth, we lay the groundwork for a life of purpose, joy, and meaningful progress. Practicing selective investment in relationships is essential for cultivating a life filled with meaningful connections and emotional well-being. In a world where social interactions are abundant, it can be tempting to spread our time and energy across numerous superficial relationships. However, true fulfillment comes from focusing on relationships that are reciprocal, rooted in trust, and built on genuine understanding and respect. By being intentional about where we invest our emotional resources, we protect ourselves from draining engagements that offer little in return and instead nurture connections that genuinely enrich our lives. When we invest in relationships that are reciprocal, we foster a sense of mutual respect and support. These relationships are characterized by an exchange of energy, effort, and care that flows both ways. We feel valued and appreciated, and in turn, we are motivated to give our best, knowing that our efforts are recognized and reciprocated. This balance creates a foundation of trust, which is vital for any relationship to thrive. Trust allows us to be vulnerable, share our true selves, and seek support without fear of judgment or betrayal. It strengthens the bond and encourages open communication, which is the cornerstone of authentic relationships. Superficial connections, on the other hand, often drain our energy because they lack depth and genuine commitment. Engaging in relationships that are primarily based on appearances, convenience, or fleeting interests can lead to feelings of emptiness and frustration. These connections tend to be transactional, where effort is uneven or insincere, leaving us feeling undervalued or misunderstood. Investing in such interactions diverts time and emotional energy away from more meaningful relationships, ultimately diminishing our overall happiness and sense of belonging. Being selective also involves recognizing our own boundaries and understanding that we do not need to be everywhere or with everyone. This discernment allows us to prioritize quality over quantity, focusing on those relationships that align with our core values and contribute positively to our growth. It takes courage and self-awareness to step back from superficial or toxic connections, but doing so preserves our emotional health and opens space for genuine bonds to flourish. When we are intentional about where we direct our energy, we create a more supportive environment where trust and reciprocity can develop naturally. This selective approach encourages us to assess the health and authenticity of our relationships. It prompts us to ask important questions. Do I feel respected and appreciated? Is there mutual effort? Do I trust this person? Am I contributing to their well-being as much as they contribute to mine? Answering these questions helps us identify which relationships truly serve our best interests and which might need reevaluation or boundaries. Over time, this process leads to a more intentional social circle, one that nurtures our growth and sustains our happiness. Investing selectively in relationships based on trust and reciprocity allows us to cultivate a life rich in genuine connections. It guards us against superficiality and helps us build a network of relationships that uplift, support, and inspire us. This mindful approach to social engagement not only enhances our emotional resilience, but also creates a foundation for deeper, more meaningful interactions. By choosing wisely where to place our time and energy, we foster relationships that genuinely matter, enriching our experience and contributing to a more authentic and fulfilling life.